In very recent golf news, the Australian PGA Championship was won by Cameron Smith at Royal Queensland, throwing his home audience into a fit of excitement. The Australian favourite overcame two weather-related delays and a charging opponent named Jason Scrivener to win the Kirkwood Cup. Smith, who now has won 3 Australian PGA Championships, adding to a long list of accomplishments, only appears to be going from strength to strength. So how exactly did Smith take out the win for the third time? Is Smith the next Tiger Woods? It sure feels like it. First up, the Australian golf star taking the world by storm, Cameron Smith recently took home his third win at the Australian PGA Championship. After lightning struck at Royal Queensland Golf Club and it completely halted the play, Cameron Smith prevailed by 3 strokes to win his third Australian PGA Championship. The world's third-ranked golfer fired a 3 under 68 to finish 14 under par. Jason Scrivener, 11 under, made a late charge from 7 strokes down to share the lead and pose a severe threat to the Aussie golf star. However, Smith managed to outperform him and graciously capture the 5th championship for the year in his first appearance in Australia in 3 years. Meanwhile, Ryo Hisatsune of Japan tied for second place, bringing in a score of 11 under, while West Australian favorite Min Woo Lee and John Perry of England tied for 4th at 9 under. Now, electrical storms that raced through Brisbane this past weekend caused play to be suspended twice for a total of 2 hours, forcing players and approximately 10,000 spectators to seek shelter. But thankfully, the storm passed just in time for the competition to end. After restarting, Smith quickly bogeyed the 11th to retake a tie with Scrivener and Hisatsune. To make birdie, he dug deep into his bag of tricks and flopped a wedge from tough terrain over a tree and perfectly onto the 12th green. Then he made a 6-meter birdie putt on the 13th hole to take home the win. It must be noted that Smith is the youngest 3-time champion of the Kirkwood Cup and the first player ever to shoot more than 2 rounds under 70 during the competition. Pretty impressive, right? It's clear that Smith is unstoppable at the moment, and this appears to be just the beginning of his winning streak. We cannot wait to see what 2023 has in store for the Aussie golfer. Now, the current world number 3, Cameron Smith, also almost landed a hole-in-one on top of his epic win. Here's how it played out. On the weekend's par 3 4th hole, superstar golfer Cameron Smith came just inches from a stunning hole-in-one, electrifying the spectators at Royal Queensland. As he saw the ball inch past, announcer Warren Smith exclaimed, "All but in for Cameron Smith, what a shot!" After shooting a round of 2 under 69, Smith took a nice 3-shot lead into Sunday, and then, as we already know, managed to come out victorious at the Australian PGA Championship for the 3rd time in front of his own home crowd. There is nothing better than that. Smith started the 3rd round of the tournament in 2nd place, but managed to push his way into the leading spot and hold it, only reinforcing just how strong of a player and threat he really is. In other golf news, the PGA Tour recently awarded Tiger Woods with $15 million, but why? Let's take a look. Tiger Woods continues to set records and astound his admirers, even though he has been off the gold course and still recovering. So how exactly did he take home $15 million without playing? Well, it's pretty simple. Woods is currently the most well-liked golfer and one of the most iconic living athletes, to say the least. That means that his influence on the sport and the PGA is still very strong. As a result of this, the PGA Tour's Player Impact Program honored Tiger Woods for his outstanding performance. The number of searches for the golfer's name on Google and social media, public interest in him, and the number of articles about him were the factors used to determine who would place first. All of that was one factor that determined Woods' victory. So as a result of all of this, the PGA Tour gave Tiger Woods a $15 million paycheck. Additionally, Tiger Woods recently confirmed what we already knew, his return. We couldn't even imagine this tour without him, and the PGA Tour made sure he knew how important he is to them as a player, with the huge reward simply serving as another motivation for him to come back. So why are these stats and rewards so important, especially now? Well, with everything going on with the LIV League, the PGA needs more exposure and attention than ever before. The PGA Tour and LIV Golf have been at odds with one another for a long time, because both organizations seek to rule the golfing world. Tiger Woods has only confirmed what we already knew. We anticipate him getting better quickly and displaying his talents. We couldn't fathom this tour without him, and the PGA Tour ensured he knew how important he is to them as a player. It will simply serve as another motivation for him. Speaking of the $15 million that Woods received, what exactly is the PIP program? The Player Impact Program, otherwise known as the PIP program on the PGA Tour, is a mechanism for the tour to recognize players who create the most positive interest in the PGA Tour. In other words, this is how the tour distributes funds to its key players. Now, this year alone, the PIP's pool of money was increased from $50 million to $100 million and distributed among 20 players, plus 3 extras. These 20 professionals were chosen using 5 objective measurement criteria categories. Then the payouts are staggered, with the winner receiving $15 million and positions 16 through 20 receiving a total of $2 million each. So you may be wondering, how exactly do players qualify for the PIP program? A current PGA Tour member in good standing, who has participated in at least 5 tour events in at least one of the previous 5 seasons, is eligible for the PIP. If you meet that requirement, that is, if you are a PGA Tour player who hasn't made the switch to LIV, you will be judged according to the following standards. Firstly, according to Nielsen brand exposure, how often are you on TV? Secondly, how frequently players are mentioned in news articles according to Google search. Thirdly, data and media mentions, so a player's general awareness among Americans, which their Q score measures. And lastly, the MVP index is a social media ranking system that takes a player's reach, conversation, and engagement data into account. All of these combined helps determine who will take home the extra prize money, and of course, Tiger Woods is at the top of all of these. Speaking of the LIV Tour, the South Australian Premier has recently defended his decision to host an event next year. The South Australian Premier, Peter Malinauskas, recently criticized established monopolist forces in golf while defending his state's readiness to host the controversial LIV Golf Tournament, which Saudi Arabia heavily backs. Rex Patrick, a former senator and critic of the Saudi government, said taxpayer funds should not be used to assist foreign leaders to wash away unconscionable acts such as the murder of a journalist for doing his job. Now, according to reports, the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia has invested over $2 billion in LIV Golf, which is run by golfing legend Greg Norman. And it is no secret that Norman has received harsh criticism for ignoring Saudi Arabia's record on human rights, and notably the murder of Jamal Khashoggi. Malinauskas did not specify how much it cost to entice the event to South Africa, but he did claim that the state will benefit financially. Malinauskas was questioned about whether he was pleased to support the tournament, a breakaway from the dominating US PGA Tour when he had previously been critical of investment with Russia following its invasion of Ukraine, once it was revealed that SA had obtained the deal. Finally, what exactly are the details of the upcoming Aussie LIV Tour? Adelaide's The Grange Golf Club will officially host Australia's debut competition in the Saudi-sponsored LIV Golf Series in April 2019. The Greg Norman-sponsored competition, which is scheduled for April 21 to 23 at the South Australian course, is likely to include Australian sensation Cameron Smith. The LIV Golf Tour includes players like Smith, Mark Leishman, Phil Mickelson, Dustin Johnson, Sergio Garcia, Brooks Koepka, Ian Poulter, and Bubba Watson. The South Australian state government made the news. The format for LIV Golf consists of 12 teams of 48 golfers competing over 54 holes with staggering starts and no cuts. LIV Golf CEO and Commissioner Greg Norman stated that the passion for the sport is at the foundation of Australian culture, and that LIV Golf is proud to introduce its worldwide league to a country deserving of the world's best competition. He continued, explaining that this is a great chance to expand the game with future generations of Australians while introducing them to world-class golfers like Cameron Smith, creating a new global platform for the sport. Australia has a lot of potential to be more involved in this fantastic sport, and Norman is beyond thrilled to highlight Adelaide in the inaugural season of his new, highly controversial golf league. Unfortunately, guys, that is all the time we have for today, so make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And as always, thanks for watching.